Good evening and thanks for joining us. This is Aso Television News. My name is Osman Khatun Umar. The headlines. Vice President Kashim Shettima, others advocate better budgeting system for Nigeria. FCT Minister Barrister Ezenwonye Somwike draws line on deadlines, insists on June delivery for Tinubu third-year anniversary. House of Representatives Committee directs CBN to suspend funds to ZTE Corporation on Abuja CCTV deal. International Monetary Fund cuts Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% amid Middle East war fallout. Thank you once again for joining us, and now details of the news. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has highlighted the imperative of developing a more realistic and sustainable budgeting process tied to the country's quest for development. The Vice President, represented by Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, Tope Pashwa, made the remark at the beginning of a two-day national policy dialogue organized by the National Assembly Joint Committee on National Planning and Economic Development Tuesday in Abuja, with the theme, The Imperatives of National Development Plan for Effective Budgeting System and Sustainable Growth of the Nigerian Economy. He said the two-day discourse was formed around how, as a country, Nigeria can quicken its pace of development by integrating national development plans more with the yearly budgets and projects into the medium and long term for the country. Other dignitaries, including former Director General, Budget Office, Ben Akabueze, supported the Vice President in their separate remarks.
This is an apt moment to echo the thoughts of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Minister, indeed the Minister of Budget and Planning, to the extent that our budgets should not only be people-focused, but our budgets should actually be larger than they are presently. Some critics, of course, have opined that Nigeria should have a much smaller budget, but they need to be reminded that budgeting is not a process of ruining our past shortcomings and capitulating to our limitations, but indeed a process by which we document our greater future and challenge ourselves to do even better than the past.
In our own case, the MTEF is prepared on a 3-year rolling basis. Then we have the medium-term sector strategies, which on a sectoral basis breaks down the national goals into sector-specific actions. And then the public investment plan. That's a public investment management framework that to reduce these to plans, focus on projects that will drive growth in different areas.
We must bind together the one unbroken chain in the process of planning and budgeting. No ministry or agency should act aloof, because the common agenda is to make the planning lead to the budget for the general good of all Nigerians.
The House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating the $460 million closed cyclic television CCTV surveillance project in the Federal Capital Territory has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend any further disbursement to ZTE Corporation pending satisfactory explanations on the execution of the contract. This is as lawmakers expressed deep frustration over what they described as inconsistencies, vague responses, and a lack of transparency from ZTE officials regarding the scope, deployment, locations, and current operational status of the project. At a sitting on Tuesday at the National Assembly, the committee, following adoption of resolution of a motion by members, mandated the company to reappear with comprehensive and verifiable documentation. This includes a detailed inventory of all equipment supplied and installed, precise locations of the infrastructure nationwide, as well as the identities and contact details of the 456 Nigerians the company claimed were trained to operate and maintain the system. Representative of the company, Irene Momo, had told the lawmakers ZTE supplied and installed CCTV infrastructure in Abuja and Lagos, noting that the project was completed between 2011 and 2012. He though admitted uncertainty about the current functionality of the system, sparking strong reactions from lawmakers who who questioned how a project of such magnitude would lack a sustainable maintenance and continuity framework. In his opening remarks, the committee's chairman, Mr. Donald Ojogo, clarified that the exercise was not a witch hunt, but a fact-finding mission aimed at addressing growing public concern. Now back to the nation's capital. With just weeks to the June deadline tied to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's third-year anniversary, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwonye Somwike, is drawing a hard line on project delivery, warning contractors that timelines are not longer flexible and delays will not be tolerated. Speaking during an inspection of ongoing projects across Abuja, the minister expressed frustration over shifting completion dates on a key road project in Wuse, insisting that agreements must be honored without excuses.
You are aware that we are also going to update the satellite water that has been carried out by CGC, that has to do with the Buhari, Kauru, Orozo areas. So that is the satellite water project. By the grace of God, we are going to celebrate it. It's a third-year anniversary of Mr. President. In terms of education, in fact, the Mandate Secretary of Education sent me a text yesterday, sir, whatever it takes, that we should at least include some of the schools for the inauguration. In fact, we've renovated so many schools. We are hoping that mostly the schools are in the satellite towns, renovating and also equipping and furnishing the schools. So apart from the roads, we are tackling water, we are also tackling education. We have awarded recently contracts for rehabilitation of most of the health facilities. So we are not just concentrating on roads. Just I was informed the former GM has just retired and has handed over to the most senior. And when I had that information, I had to find out what happened. And I was told that they damaged one of the very big pipes for the water project. Now, because of a private development, somebody who's carrying out the private development damaged that pipe, and the water board is working tirelessly to make sure that that is being put to use. But we're going there tomorrow and to see what happened, why the private developer should not the sanction. If it means that to shut down the project, I will shut it down. I mean, because you cannot suffer the public and you are freely going about to develop your own property. So be assured that we are going to take action, but this is the position. But the GM, but the board is working seriously to rectify it. So I appeal to members of the public to please be patient with us. It is not for our own fault. It is the fault of a private developer, but we have no excuse not to put it back. So that's what we are doing now.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration has reaffirmed its commitments to youth empowerment and national integration through art and culture. This came at the launch of the 2026 quarterly drama series and NYSC Art and Culture exhibition in Abuja. Here is a report from the event.
The Minister of State for the FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, says creative platforms such as drama and cultural exhibitions remain vital tools for harnessing the potential of young people and promoting national unity. Speaking at the event, the minister, represented by one of our advisors, Helene Zamani, described the initiative as a celebration of talents and contributions of National Youth Service Corps members, noting that their participation goes beyond entertainment to shaping societal values and strengthening national identity.
It is with great pleasure that I join you today at this remarkable gathering, marking the premier edition of the 2026 quarterly drama series, an initiative that celebrates creativity, culture, and immense talent of our young people under the National Youth Service Corps. This event is not only a showcase of artist excellence, but also a reflection of our collective commitment to promoting cultural heritage.
Dr. Mahmood encouraged core members to continue using their creative abilities to tell compelling stories that foster dialogue, unity, and progress across diverse communities. She also commended the FCT Social Development Secretariat for sustaining programs that align with government's vision of youth-driven development. Earlier, the mandate secretary of the Secretariat, Mr. Ibrahim Aminu, described the drama presentation as a reflection of social realities and a tool for inspiring positive change. He added that the accompanying art and craft exhibition highlights the creativity and economic potential of core members. The event featured a stage play titled Kalangu, which emphasizes effective communication within families and organizations, alongside exhibitions showcasing Nigeria's rich cultural heritage. The FCT administration reiterated its commitment to supporting initiatives that engage young people constructively while promoting unity and cultural expression. Usman Katun Umar, Aso Television News.
Science, technology, innovation and entrepreneurship education has been described as the bedrock for growth and development in modern society. Acting Executive Chairman of FCT UBED, that is Universal Basic Education Board, Mrs. Florence Dawon Wenegeme, made this known at the maiden edition of the Science, Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Education Stakeholders Meeting in Abuja. Olina Adojo was there and now reports.
Described as a move which seeks to improve current method of teaching science, technology and related subjects in FCT schools, the meeting brought together stakeholders from the 6 area councils in the FCT education sector to brainstorm on how to make basic science more innovative. In her speech, Acting Executive Chairman FCT UBEB, Mrs. Florence Dawon Wenegeme, while emphasizing the importance of basic science education, says the initiative aligns with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda.
The Renewed Hope agenda has focused on entrepreneurship, skill acquisition, and that is very important. We want our students, after their basic education, they should be job creators. They should be employers and not job seekers. If they're able to get a job, fine. If they don't get, they should be able to become self-reliant and at the same time, even provide jobs for others.
In his remarks, Mandate Secretary, FCT Education Secretariat, Dr. Danlami Hayu, called on critical stakeholders in the FCT education sector to encourage dynamic and innovative way of teaching basic science, technology and innovation. This, he noted, breeds critical thinking by students and pupils in the FCT.
We are trying to change the system of teaching in FCT to make sure that each child, after finishing the secondary school or junior secondary, at least have some few things that he can be able to do or create by himself so that he can depend on himself. See, majority of the developed countries nowadays, the government just give job opportunity to less than 5%. But in Nigeria, it's contrary.
In a goodwill message, Director, Department of Science, Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, FCT, Deaconess Angela Nwanchukwu, emphasized the need for stakeholders to periodically come together and rub minds as a way of encouraging basic science learning within the FCT. The event, according to stakeholders, marks a significant milestone in developing a sustainable blueprint for teaching and learning of science education, technology, and entrepreneurship education at the basic levels in the FCT. Olina Adojo, Aso Television News.
The chairman of Abaji Area Council and the FCT APC senatorial aspirant Alhaji Abubakar Umar Abdullahi has joined other prominent stakeholders from the Federal Capital Territory at the National Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress (APC), where they held a crucial meeting with the party's National Working Committee (NWC). The engagement, which took place ahead of the forthcoming state and local government congresses, was aimed at strengthening internal party cohesion and ensuring a smooth, transparent and credible process across all levels of the exercise. Speaking during the briefing, the stakeholders emphasized the importance of unity, fairness and strict adherence to the party's guidelines in the conduct of the congresses. They also reiterated their collective commitment to upholding democratic principles within the party. Alhaji Abubakar Umar Abdullahi, in his remarks, underscored the need for inclusiveness and collaboration among party members, noting that a peaceful and well-organized Congress would further consolidate the APC's strength in the nation's capital. The National Working Committee commended the delegation for their proactive approach and assured them of the party leadership's readiness to ensure a hitch-free exercise that reflects the wishes of members at the grassroots. The meeting is seen as a significant step in preparation for the congresses as the APC continues to position itself for greater electoral success in future political contests. The federal government has described the recent airstrike in the Jili axis of Gubbio local government area of Borno State as a precision counter-terrorism operation under Operation Hatenkai, carried out by the Nigerian Air Force. It insisted that the operation was not indiscriminate, stressing that the area had long been designated a high-risk zone with security advisories restricting civilian movement. This was contained in a statement signed by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris Malagi, which provided an official account of the airstrike that reportedly resulted in some civilian casualties. According to the statement, the operation was based on sustained intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance, which identified the Jili axis, locally known as Kasu Daulai, the terrorist market, as an insurgent-controlled enclave used for logistics, levy collection and attack coordination by Boko Haram and ISWAP elements. He further states the assessment was reinforced on 12 April 2026 following the arrest of a 15-year-old ISWAP courier, Tijani Ngamdu, who allegedly admitted to moving funds and logistics between Jili and other locations, underscoring the exploitation of civilians, including minors. It also cited confirmation from Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, who reportedly said that Jili and Gazabure markets were officially closed 5 years ago by the state government due to insurgent control, describing the area as a non-terrorist hub. Authorities added that Bimbil Jili axis has long been identified as a major terrorist corridor, noting previous incidents including an IED attack in January 2026 and coordinated attacks in Ngamdu and Benisheik on 9 April linked to the same network. It stated that following weeks of surveillance, the Nigerian Air Force, in collaboration with the Nigerian Army, confirmed the presence of terrorist elements before executing the strike aimed at disrupting supply lines and degrading insurgent capability. The federal government has ordered a full and independent investigation into the incident to review intelligence, targeting and execution processes and to ensure accountability where necessary. It added that operational safeguards will be strengthened while reaffirming that the protection of civilian lives remains a core obligation of the armed forces. In case you're just tuning in, you are watching Aso Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on StarTimes TV channel 127, and Free TV, we are on channel 507. We are also on the YouTube band on channel 38. Still ahead, International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, cuts Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% amid Middle East war fallout. For detail of these and more stories, do stay with us. We'll be back after this short break.
3 years of debt. Thank you for your 3 years of sacrificing.
I thought you have an interview.
Foundation's not an entire complex. It's just a company that crashed.
Guy, how did you hear about the golden bars thing?
Did they make a million or a zillion?
More like crashed out.
You will not believe who invested in golden bars. Sister, talk fast. Isa.
Sir, who be this? It's why police they find you.
Tell them, Mr. Tell them, sir, did not steal the money. Tell them that you invested it.
You don't have the authority to arrest anyone, let alone hold someone here over a loan.
Wait, now.
You should have seen the way they covered everywhere. They even broke the gate and then stormed the office.
No, pay my money complete.
When I catch Steve boy, let's get our money back.
Yes.
The International Monetary Fund has downgraded Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% as the economic fallout from the Middle East war continues. The revision was announced at the IMF and World Bank spring meeting in Washington, D.C., where officials warned that war-related energy and supply shocks are undercutting recovery across the region. IMF Chief Economist Pere Olivia Gorinchas said the downgrade reflects broader pressure facing energy importing countries. The impact, he said, is very much along the lines of what is seen more broadly for a lot of the countries, especially the ones that are energy importers. He added that the fund is following a number of countries that their needs may be in the current environment and coordinating with the International Energy Agency and the World Bank on energy market disruptions. Speaking further, the chief of the IMF Research Department's World Economic Studies Division, Dens Igon, said the 0.3% point cut reflects competing pressures. Igon noted that war-related higher fuel and fertilizer prices and higher shipping costs are going to weigh on non-oil activity in Nigeria, adding that there is some offset coming from higher oil prices, but the net balance is weaker growth in 2026, with some recovery built in for 2027. And that's the much we have for you on this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. My name is Usman Khatun Umar. Good evening.